What's up, human beings? Have y'all ever wondered what the scariest word in the world is? Let me search it up with you guys. Are you freaking stupid? Let me educate you stupid little human beings for a sec. For those of you that don't know what Allahu Akbar means, Allahu Akbar literally translates to God is the greatest. But Google itself, Google is racist, you know what I'm saying? Google's with the shaitan. Google itself, when you write the scariest word in the world, it shows Allahu Akbar. Are you freaking stupid? You know what it means? Allahu Akbar literally translates to God is the greatest. How is that scary? Like, they're not scared of people death. They're not scared of all the other things, but they're scared of a word that translates to, like, are you freaking stupid? Let me show you guys what it says. It's Allahu Akbar. It is literally the scariest word in the world. Actually, combination of two words. Like, it said that. A Muslim man was fined 170 for saying Allahu Akbar in a public in Sweden. When he said the phrase to express shock at seeing his friend. He was fined because his words scared the people around to such extent that they thought they're going to die next moment. Are you freaking stupid? How can you be scared of God is the greatest? You're supposed to be happy somebody's saying that. Are you freaking...
Do me, gang. So I just found out, if you go and type on Google what is the scariest word in the world, or if you type scariest word in the world, the word Allahu Akbar comes up as the first search on Google. Matter of fact, it comes up on like all the searches, and Google itself says that Allahu Akbar is the scariest word in the world. I am so damn confused. To anyone who doesn't know what Allahu Akbar means, I'm gonna tell you guys right now what it means. You guys ready? Okay, because it's kind of scary. It's kind of really scary. It's okay. I'm scared to say it. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. It means God is the greatest. God is the greatest. Allahu Akbar. Allah means God and Akbar means greatest. It's such a beautiful word, but it's crazy how the media and all the world, they look bad on Allahu Akbar.
It is then that a man took off. He has been pursued, initialed, an employee of the Commonwealth.
If anyone is scared of the word Allahu Akbar, then you're just racist. Let's get it.
If you go on your phone and you say, "Hey Siri, what's the scariest word?" What do you think comes up?
Hey Siri, what's the scariest word in the world?
Okay, I found this on the web for what's the scariest word in the world. Check it out.
Yeah, amazing.
What do you mean amazing? That's not good news.
Shocking. Like,
yeah, it's shocking.
The scariest word is
Allahu Akbar. But
atheism leads to moral atrocities and oppression of human beings, especially believers in God. So your fear of Muslims actually is irrational. If you're really going to look at the data to see who you should fear and who you should watch out for, the data supports the fact that you should be wary of atheists such as yourself and not of Muslims. We should fear atheists so much more, because although you want to throw this lie and this fake narrative onto Muslims that we're just barbarians and we just want to kill people and we're just, if we believe in God, we believe in religion, we're going to go around and kill people, they have no moral grounding. They can do whatever they want morally. They don't believe God is going to hold them accountable. God's not telling them what is right or wrong.
Fortunately, atheists don't have to obey the commands of a warmongering God that demands the violent subjugation of the world under a totalitarian dictatorship. In Islamic scriptures, Muslims are commanded to strive and fight in the cause of Allah. But what is the cause of Allah?
Fight in the cause of Allah means to persevere in establishing the deen and sharia of Allah in this world, by submitting to Him in worship and political will. Believers are commanded to establish Allah's right in this world to have His servants worship only Him, obey without any hesitation Allah's sharia law and Muhammad's sunnah way of life. Muslims are commanded to strive in the cause of Allah with peaceful and violent means.
So, fortunately, atheists don't worship a celestial dictator with Hitlerian type of delusions, commanding us to establish a totalitarian theocratic dictatorship and violently force people under a 7th century Arab nomadic type of social and political conformity. Okay, you see, atheists are not so naive to believe God is a tribal Arab war leader We have IQ more than 80.
So his argument is as follows. He is not Islamophobic because Islam is something that you should rationally fear, or something you should fear if you are a rational human being. And the reason for this is because on the whim of any random Muslim, because of their religion, they can attack you. So you should have a rational fear of that religion.
What you said implies Islam is not commanding people to fight in the cause of Allah. Given that you praised in your YouTube channel people like Daniel Hakikatsu, you must know Islam in fact commands things like offensive jihad. So the problem is not like atheists, as you say, don't have moral accountability. The problem is that you have moral accountability to a Hitler kind of God. Okay? So the problem is not the absence of moral commands. The problem is that your God speaks and commands things like jihad, sharia and martyrdom. Fighting for the cause of Allah. Translation of Sahih Bukhari, book 52. Verse 41 versus verse 45. Why I say versus? Because they contradict each other. But anyway, let's see.
Narrated Abdullah bin Masud. I asked Allah's apostle, O Allah's apostle, what is the best deed? He replied, to offer the prayers at their early stated fixed times. I asked, what is next in goodness? He replied, to be good and dutiful to your parents. I further asked, what is next in goodness? He replied, to participate in jihad in Allah's cause. I did not ask Allah's apostle anymore, and if I had asked him more, he would have told me more. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Somebody asked, O Allah's apostle, who is the best among the people? Allah's apostle replied, a believer who strives his utmost in Allah's cause with his life and property. They asked, who is next? He replied, a believer who stays in one of the mountain paths worshipping Allah and leaving the people secure from his mischief.
The best way to conduct such a system is under the laws of God, because God knows what's best for us, He tells us what's best for us, and gave us a perfect system of life so human beings can thrive.
Imagine a random human being. Okay, this person is a good person in his life. Suddenly, he sees Richard Dawkins' videos and he understands God doesn't exist. What he will do? Now I will need to go out, start killing people. This is what is going to happen. No, in fact, that is silly. That never happened, ever, in whole human history. Never happened, ever. Now, let's see the opposite. Imagine a good young lad from Australia, an innocent child. Okay, this is an innocent child. Suddenly, he believes the bullshit of an evil mental disease, and he goes and join ISIS. Does this happen? Does this ever happen in history? Rami, you scientist? And why that happens? Because as, what was his name? Steven Weinberg said, with or without religion, good people will do good and evil people will do evil. But for good people to do evil, that takes religion. Why? Because of a simple reason. A good person, in order to do evil, he needs to believe that there is a higher power commanding him to do so, to override his moral conscience, to override his moral reasoning. Like you admitted that you need God to tell you everything about morality.
Everyone should accept the truth of Islam, submit to God, and contribute to making the world a better place, a place that is legislated by and only by God.
And what if the legislation of God are immoral? Like, for example, in your religion. What then, Rami? You go and join ISIS. And that is how religion and dogmas in general make good people behave in a bad way. And we don't need to wonder, Rami, you know how many families have been ruined because of your evil mental disease? For some families, converting to Islam equals to leprosy, my friend. Their family ruined completely. Their sons went and joined Al-Qaeda. They died. The family ruined completely. Okay, so for some families in the West, converting to Islam is worse than having cancer. Okay, and these stories are true stories, like this story, for example.
There's like two sides of him. There's my son, and then there's this other person he's become.
What do you want to happen now?
Thomas to walk back through the front door.
Suda, Hakim hooyadiis waxay kugu dhahday waa mahadsan tahay inaa wiilkeedii ilaalisay oo la degnayd. She's a bit confused. She said, so what's going on? Is his mother not happy? Is she angry?
Yes, I am angry, Tana.
She's asking me, is his mum an old lady?
No. I am in comparison to her, yes.
That's how they refer to the elders.
Yeah, yeah.
She says, you shouldn't think this way. You should think that your son is in heaven and he's joyful in heaven, and in heaven he's explaining to people...
He'll be burning in hell for what he's done.
Okay. Then the white man took the small baby and looked to see if it was a boy or girl. The white man said, she's a girl, let's not kill her.
So, Rami, if you ask 9 to 10 Western families, you prefer your child to have cancer or to become this? They will say to have cancer. Okay, so this is what happens. People convert to your mental disease, Rami, and they become monsters. They kill babies. And we are talking about nerds. Nerdy kids from British high schools. And they end up killing babies. And you dare compare with Richard Dawkins and secular humanism. Are you serious, my friend? Thank you very much.
This evening, she's attending a fundraising event for a counter-extremism foundation to tell her story publicly for the first time.
Hello, everyone. Imagine discovering the death of your child on Twitter and being both devastated and relieved at the same time. Devastated because the child you brought into this world was killed after being brainwashed into pursuing a murderous cause. But relieved because the death of your child meant that he could no longer harm innocent people. During the days and weeks that followed Thomas's death, I would reflect on the time I was holding him in my arms, seconds after he was born, and whispering his name into his ears. Tommy Evans, Tommy Evans. I often ask myself how my son Thomas went from being a sweet boy full of energy and humour and cute mischief to becoming a senior member of the terrorist group Al-Shabaab. But I stopped asking myself the question when I discovered how toxic and venomous and deadly Islamist radicalisation can be, because it doesn't only destroy the lives of the young men and women who are struck by its spell, but it also indirectly devastates the lives of the parents and siblings of such radicalised men and women. I don't claim to be an expert on extremism and radicalisation, but I am no longer going to suffer in silence and isolation, because that would be playing into the hands of the recruiters.